Good morning, students. Today let us study about self-organization map. This is in short called as SOM. This is a clustering algorithm. So let us see the key takeaways for today's session. Firstly, we'll study about what is clustering, a brief introduction to clustering. Then we'll have a brief introduction to SOM, and then we will see the various components of SOM, and then let us see about the Cohen's network, then the advantages and disadvantages of SOM, followed by certain assignments. So SOM is basically a neural network algorithm which is basically used for clustering. So clustering algorithm, which is actually a unsupervised learning algorithm where the labels are not assigned. So it is very useful machine learning algorithm, and it follows a feed-forward neural network concept where the data flows in the forward direction. The input weights and the multiplying weights are basically flowing in the forward direction. So let us see more about SOM. First, let us see about clustering. So clustering analysis or clustering is an unsupervised machine learning task. Right? So it involves automatically discovering natural grouping in data. So it basically tries to find certain similar features among the data set and tries to group them. So that is natural grouping in the data. So clustering or cluster analysis is a machine learning technique, and which basically groups the unlabeled data set. So here the labeled data set is not given, and unlabeled data set is given as an input to the machine learning technique. It is not like the supervised machine learning, like specifically predictive modeling. Clustering algorithms only interpret the input data and find the natural group of clusters in the feature space. So their intention is just to group the data. It is not like the predictive algorithms which try to predict something. They just find the natural grouping among the data. Now SOM. So SOM basically, as I told you, is a short form for self-organizing map. So this is a supervised, unsupervised learning algorithm, and SOM learn on their own through unsupervised competitive learning. So the method they follow is an unsupervised competitive learning. They basically try to attempt to map their weights to conform to the given input data. SOM learns to classify the training data without any external supervision. That is why they are termed as unlabeled data. That is why they work with unlabeled data and they do not have a supervisor. Right? So they try to learn on their own. So SOM reduces the data dimension and displays the similarity among the data. Now, the squares or the grids you see here are basically used by SOM. Right? So these could be a square, or a hexagon could be a neuron when it is used in a neural network. So a SOM, that is a self-organizing map, is a clustering technique that helps you uncover categories in the large data set. So it will work with larger data sets also, and like for example you have the customer profiles, right? So you try to find the grouping among them based on the purchases they have done. So this is a structure trying to show how the SOM neurons are organized. So they could be organized in a square form, or they could be organized in a hexagonal form. Now let us see about Cohen's network, right? So this is basically the picture representing Cohen's network, and there is basically an input layer and the computation layer. So input layer has a set of neurons, and the computational layer is a grid, which is actually a form of feed-forward structure, right? So there is a single computational layer that is arranged in rows and columns, looks like a matrix. So each neuron you can see is fully connected to all the source nodes in the input layer. So this is Cohen's network. Now let us see about the components of a self-organization map. So this process basically involves 4 major components, that is initialization, computation, adaptation and completion. Right? So all the connection weights in the initialized stage are initialized with random values. Right? In the computation stage, for each input pattern, the neurons compute the respective weights of the discriminant function, which provides the basis for computation. So this value is calculated, and based on this value, the computation occurs. Right? The particular neuron with the smallest value of the discriminant function is declared the winner. The smallest neuron is one which has the smallest value, is declared as the winner. Right? That is, smallest value of the discriminant function is declared as a winner. Then we have the cooperation. The third stage is the cooperation. The winning neuron determines the spatial location of a topological neighbor of the excited neurons. So the winning neuron has the responsibility of finding the neighbors, that is topological neighbor, in the spatial location, right? And specifically of the excited neurons, and thereby they provide the basis for cooperation among the neighboring neurons. So there has to be cooperation among the neurons. Then we have the adaptation. The excited neurons decrease their individual values of the discriminant function in relation to the input pattern through suitable adjustments of the associated connection weights. Right? So the excited neurons, they decrease the individual values, right? Individual values of the discriminant function, and this is in relation to the input pattern, and that is basically done through suitable adjustment of the associated connection weights, and such that the response of the winning neuron to the subsequent application of the similar input pattern is enhanced. So that the winning neuron tries to enhance its neighbors. This is basically how we train a song. You have an input vector which is ranging from x1 to xn, and there are certain weights that are assigned, and there is a size of y against x, that is the matrix which is used. So this is kind of a feed forward neural network, and this is basically used for clustering. So you have the weights wij, the inputs x1 to xn, this is the input vector, and there is a network of size y cross size x, this is a matrix. So SOM basically learns to classify the training data without any external supervision. As we discussed, the data set is not labeled and there is no supervisor in the algorithm. So the stages of SOM algorithm are basically summarized in the following steps. Firstly, we have the initialization. You choose the random values for the initialization vector weights wj. You sample it, right? Sampling, you draw a sampling training input vector x from the input space. Then you try to match, find the winning neuron, that is I of x, right, with the weight closest to the input vector. The next state is updating. You try to apply the weight updated equation, and that is basically delta wji, which is the weight, is equal to n of t tj comma I of xt into xi minus wji. So this is the weight update equations, and then you try to continuation, right, the step 5. You keep returning to step 2 until the feature map stops changing. So the continuation should happen till the feature map does not provide any change, or there is no change, it remains in the same state. Now how does SOM work? Right? There are various steps. Firstly, randomly position the grids neuron in the data space. Step 1 is to select one input data point, either randomly or systematically, cycling through the data set in order. Then step 2 is find the neuron that is closest to the chosen data point, and this particular neuron is called as BMU, that is best matching unit. Then step 3 we have is where we move the BMU closer to the data point, and the distance moved by the BMU is determined by the learning rate. This basically decreases after each iteration. So the learning rate decreases after each iteration. Step 4 is you move the BMU's neighbor closer to that data point as close as possible, with further away neighbors moving less. Right? So the closest neighbor move more and the further neighbors move less. So neighbors are identified using a radius around the BMU. Right? A radius is applied around the BMU and the neighbors are found, and the value for this radius decreases after each iteration. Step 5 is you update the learning rate and the BMU radius before repeating the steps 1 to 5. So iterate these steps until positions of neurons have been established. So this is how the neuron works, the SOM works, right? And the neurons are excited and the BMU is found and the neighbors are helping, cooperating. So these are the steps. Now let us see more about the advantages and disadvantages of SOM. So firstly, the advantages. Your data mapping is very easily interpreted. Once you map the data, it is very easy to understand what data is mapped and where it is mapped. Then capable of organizing large complex data sets. So this SOM is basically capable of organizing large and complex data sets, right, which are very tough to handle. As it has advantages, it's also going to have disadvantages, right? So the disadvantages is it's difficult to determine what input weights to use. Mapping can result in divided clusters. One cluster could be having more than some points which are belonging to the other cluster, so the cluster is divided. And this requires the nearby points to behave in a similar fashion, behave similarly, and it does not handle categorical variables very well. It's not basically handling these values well, it's being observed, and it is computationally very expensive, and potentially it provides at times inconsistent solutions. So this was about advantages and disadvantages. Now let us see about the applications of SOM. So text clustering is one of the major applications where you try to cluster the text based on certain criteria, based on maybe certain word or maybe certain other input criteria. And then WebSOM, this is basically organization of a massive document collection. This is very big organization which basically has a very huge collection of documents. Then phonetic typewriter, this is also a major application of SOM. And then classifying world poverty. SOM can be applied to classify the world's poverty, try to range the poor people in different categories. These are certain important questions for today's session, like advantages and disadvantages of SOM, then the working of SOM in detail, and of course again the question is repeated, advantages and disadvantages of SOM in detail. So if you have any queries related to this topic, do not hesitate to connect me. This is my email ID, and stay connected to learn more about neural networks and machine learning algorithms and clustering algorithms. Thank you. We are done.